Hello and welcome to the Armchair Sessions. I'm Dave LeBlanc, and what we're going to do for the next little while is talk about hockey in Nova Scotia, talk about officiating and the development of the game. If you're watching at home, online, or in community television, or here in the studio at the Bayplex Community Room. With me in the first part of the program is the President of Hockey Nova Scotia, Randy Pulisfer. Randy, welcome to the Armchair Sessions.
Thanks very much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be in lovely Glace Bay. I came in last night and received a warm welcome, and lots of things happening here, and hockey is alive and well in Glace Bay. It's not hard to tell.
Tell me, with the development of the game, not only in Nova Scotia, but really Canada-wide, I think over the last little while, there's a lot of people who really look hard at the development of the game, where the game is going, not only Nova Scotia, but nationally.
I think the number one thing on the agenda is more in lines of recruitment and retention. Stats are showing that the number of boys and girls playing the game is on the decrease, and we as a national body and really provincial body and locally have to find increase the population of young children playing this game, and that even goes into adult rec. We have to change the way we do things in a certain manner to try to recruit and keep the players that are pleasantly with us, and maybe bring in some new partners.
Now, dealing with the future of the game, when you were 8 years as referee-in-chief for Nova Scotia, what did that do for you to help you move into the next level to be president of Hockey Nova Scotia and kind of work on not only the development of officials, but the development of the sport?
I don't know if it was so much being the referee-in-chief. It was a great experience. It's been a big part of my life personally. I think it gave me a chance to sit at the board table. And I went through two past presidents, through Lockie McIsaac and Don Matheson, and each of those presidents had an agenda to try to drive the game forward. And I just tried to, I guess, grab onto what they did and then maybe add a little something to it. My profession is the education field, and I have some ideas, and I'm hoping that over the next year or a bit, that some of my ideas can come at the board table, and we can try to grow this thing a little faster.
Now, you talked about your job as an educator, besides being a referee and the president of Hockey Nova Scotia. It's almost, there are a lot of parallels there. Dealing with students as they come to your school, sometimes you wonder what they had for breakfast, what their home life is like, you know, and as we get down the road. Same thing with hockey players. Sometimes they can't afford to play the game maybe at the level they should be playing at. So would you agree there's a lot of parallels in both systems?
You hit it right on, a major parallel. And it's interesting, the school that I'm administrator of a high school, and we are running a project for the government called 21st Century Learning. And presently, most schools and most bodies out in public are running things the way they've always been run. We have to start looking at the modern family. How has the family changed? How has the game changed? How has life changed? We have split families. We have to start looking outside the box and finding ways to accommodate all partners, not just the ones that are already with us. And we can't keep doing the things the same way that we've always done them. And sometimes we have policies, and sometimes we have constitutions. But I think we have to really take a hard line and look at those. And if there's a barrier there, let's get rid of the barrier. Let's do things differently. Let's look at the modern family and accommodate their needs today, because they're totally different.
For those watching this whether online or on television, community television, we have folks here in the studio as well at the community room at the Bayplex. And if you have any questions, just let us know, and you can ask Randy Pulisfer. We'll be talking with NHL linesman Matt McPherson, as well as former National Hockey League referee Don Koharski in a couple of moments. I've always said that if you're going to criticize someone, you should be prepared to jump in their shoes to do their job. And in essence, as you look throughout Nova Scotia, I'm sure that officials especially get a lot of criticism. People who are minor hockey presidents in different communities get a lot of criticism. Would you agree with the fact that sometimes it's very difficult to get people to do those jobs because of the criticisms that they put themselves in line for?
For sure, and that's really an extension of our society today. It's too easy to create negativity. It's too easy to criticize that person for creating that schedule or selecting that boy or girl on that hockey team. As you said, jump into someone else's shoes that's doing that and see live the day of the life of, and see what comes out of it. You'll see that there's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of passion, but sometimes you have to make decisions. And decisions are not popular for everybody, but decisions have to be made. And we as adults and we as a society, we have to realize that it's about everybody. And I always use the saying in the school I teach at, and it's nobody is as smart as all of us, and I truly believe that. I can make a decision at the board level, but I never make it without consultation with the fellow board members, and it has to be voted in unanimously, and then we will make that change. But we have to be willing to change, and that's a big thing. People are fearful of change, and that is society today.
When you became president of Hockey Nova Scotia, did you have any specific goals, things that you would like to accomplish as president?
Yes, I did. I'm going to step back a little bit in time, and I'm going to look at my predecessor, was Don Matheson, who has to be sitting out there. And I'm not saying this because Donnie's sitting there. He's a very knowledgeable guy in regards to constitutions and policies, and I lean on him heavily. So I felt that we had a pretty strong foundation in that area because we went through a pretty major change in the way governance happens in hockey in Nova Scotia. So I said, maybe I can take my education, what I do for a living in the education field, and put a spin on it that way. How can we recruit players? Can we do things differently? Should we be playing 3-on-3 hockey? Should we have split seasons? There's all sorts of things we could do, but again, it comes back to change. Do people want to make that change to grow the game?
The flavor of the week, I guess, is to talk about checking. Speaking of changes in the game, where do you sit on that, or do you think it's a little bit too early to really make any major decisions in terms of when checking should begin in the game?
I think there has to be detailed analysis. It's pretty easy for somebody to say there should be checking or shouldn't be checking. In my opinion, I think that we have to do some kind of a study. We have to get some results. I know Doctors Nova Scotia, I actually heard the interview yesterday on the radio coming down to Cape Breton, and there's some valid points there. Again, I deal with high school students, and there is a physiology, different sized kids, and I know that you might have a young boy playing in a pee-wee level, and might be the smallest kid on the team, and they get checked, and they might get hurt. Yes, I know that, but is there data out there that says if we make that change, it's going to be a positive change? Or is there data out there that says if we make the change, it's going to affect the growth of that hockey player? I don't know that. I can't answer that question. I haven't seen any data to support either way.
Do you think there are enough controls, and the only reason I think of this, I know there's a few guys out here that still play in what in Glace called the Huff and Puff League, but there's a lot of guys that play hockey at an older age. Are you reaching a stage now, because we have an older demographic in Nova Scotia, our community's getting older, a lot of guys are still playing the game, where there should be some controls over maybe, because it is, when you reach a certain stage, it's a tough exercise. It's a stop and start exercise, and it's harder on the body physiologically.
Honestly, I don't think. I believe in one word, and I run my life by this word, and it's called choices. We have a choice to make. Every day we wake up and we decide that what we're going to eat in the morning, we decide where we're going to go play hockey, we decide where we're going to do a fitness program. And if somebody has kept himself in good enough shape to go out and play hockey as a 50, 60, 70-year-old man or woman, then I say all the power to them. I personally know a guy who's playing, and he's almost 90, and he lives out in the Cole Harbour area, and all the power to him. He's out there playing, and he enjoys the game, and I think it's a great thing. And I think that's an area that's untapped in Nova Scotia. We have a new person on our board who's looking into adult rec hockey. How can we better support adult rec hockey at the board level within this province? What can we do to grow that side of the game? And it's not to do with money. Hockey Nova Scotia doesn't want to start grabbing money as people would think. Really, it boils down to, do they want to pay insurance? I think it might be an $18 fee to join Hockey Nova Scotia. They could then use registered referees, and we can start putting programs in place and possibly tournaments and events to support that side. So I think that's untapped, and I think it's an area we have to start looking at very seriously.